Hi everyone, welcome to today's webinar, which will be on the topic of 5 reasons to never pause your digital marketing campaigns. So we'll be looking into the importance of having campaigns running 365 days a year and not just within your event cycle that most event organizers are used to. So campaigns that are, in our terms at Tag Digital, we call them always on, we feel should be a vital part of your marketing strategy, and all event organizers should be planning their 2023 marketing strategies, and their budget should be including an element of always on. So before I get started, I will just pop up this Slido. So anyone that has any questions that they wish to ask throughout the webinar, please just join at slido.com and enter the code here, or scan the QR code and it'll take you straight to the Q&A. So the code will be on the slides throughout. So I'll give everyone a second to do this and then I'll get started. Cool. So getting into around obviously what we terminise as always on, there's a lot of terminology that goes around the marketing industry in regards to campaigns that run throughout the year. So brand awareness campaigns, first party data campaigns, again, always on, 365 campaigns. We've got campaigns that are called like content, and we've got lead generation campaigns. So yes, a lot of these campaigns don't need to run throughout the year and for 365 days but overarching, they all have the exact same objective as an always on campaign. And really, we're refining that they all fall under the same structure, the same objective, and the same outcome. So in my advice, any campaign that falls under these objectives should be run continuously throughout the year. And for reference, the terminology that we use at Tag Digital is always on, so that's what I'll refer to it throughout this webinar. So in a nutshell, to explain what is always on campaigns, and all those previous titles explain that really it's the ultimate campaign to drive awareness, audience engagement, and to build data throughout the year. So this type of campaign shouldn't be turned on and off like those that you do with your event promotion campaigns. You should have these campaigns live throughout the year, and you can adapt and change the content that you're pushing out throughout the year as you go on. These types of campaigns can be used to promote like your overall brand, your sector, or an individual event that you're running. So for example, you could be promoting all your shows like across the world through one always on campaign, or you could run an always on campaign specifically for an individual event that you have running every single year. So to put it a bit more into perspective, so this is our digital strategy timeline, which highlights the timeline that we recommend for exhibitor promotion campaigns, visitor objective campaigns, and attendance campaigns, all associated around that event date that you have. But you can see here at the bottom is your always on campaign. So this should be continuous out with your event cycle. It's very common that once your event is ran and all the hard work that you've put in over the last 6 months is complete, that event organizers and marketers turn off their campaigns, normally forget about the event, probably lie down in a dark room for a while and just process it all. But this is a vital moment to ensure you have in place your always on strategy to continuously engage digitally with this really warm audience that you've just nurtured for the last 6 months through all your marketing and your digital campaigns. So one thing I would say is do not let this audience go cold and stop the momentum of your campaigns by pausing them. Change the objective of your campaigns and keep them running. So this kind of leads nicely on to go on to my 5 reasons that you should never pause your digital marketing campaigns. There's a lot of reasons out there, but these are the ones that I think are the biggest priority to event organizers really around the world. So number 1 is to reach a new audience all year round. So there is a whole world of untapped audiences present on digital channels that you should be trying to reach throughout the year. Being present amongst your wider industry audience will ensure that you're being key industry players throughout the year. So it's important to always be relevant with it within your industry, and not just when you have an event that you want to promote, as this improves like your brand credibility and of course your overall brand awareness throughout your industry. So use these opportunities within your always on campaigns to tap into new like geographical locations, new niche industry sectors, while you have that flexible budget to do so, because you're not being reliantly held against a number of visitor registrations that you need to achieve. And having an always on campaign live is also vital if your brand suffers from low website traffic due to low audience sizes or engagement sizes, as this will continuously build your audience throughout the year. Also important if you've got low branded search due to potentially you being like a launch event, or you have poor brand awareness. It could be that you have like a really niche event title which struggles to get engagement like through keywords. So building this audience throughout the year really is vital to help you improve the overall performance of your campaigns and your digital presence as a whole. And then number 2 is associated with reducing the cost of your event focused campaigns. So one thing I like to say to event organizers is think about the fact you spend a large proportion of your marketing budget promoting your event during a short 12 to 16 week cycle. So think about the amount of traffic you build into the marketing funnel, the volume of users that you send to the website, the scale of the impressions and the clicks that you get on your campaigns. If you stop your marketing as soon as your event is complete, you've built this audience, and yes, for the purpose of getting them to attend your event, but then you just stop and you stop engaging with them online, you stop pushing out valuable content, then what that they won't see organically, because unfortunately organic posting just doesn't work. About 2% of your audience will actually see it, so you need to rely on paid tier to actually reach this audience. So when we pause our campaigns after the event, it means when we come round to the same 16 weeks cycle at the same time the following year, we need to start all over again. We need to start building that audience into the website at high scale. We need to start building up your remarketing audiences again, which is a costly task for the first month. So those of you that run these types of campaigns will see that your CPAs are higher at the start of the campaigns due to the effort that needs to be built to building that audience in. So if we have a softer data building, brand awareness, lead generation, always on campaign that we're constantly have on, it means we're constantly building data into our marketing funnel, and you're constantly building data into your data list as well, and driving traffic to your website. So this means when it comes to then switching back on your visitor promotion or your ads that are trying to get people to register for your event, this audience is there waiting. You've built them for the last 8 to 9 months, and they're ready to convert really quickly, which in turn will mean that your CPAs will be so much cheaper, which again, in relation, will then mean a higher volume of registrations for your event. And then this ties nicely into my point number 3, which is to keep your active audience engaged. It is sad, but unfortunately, organic posting just does not cut it. The platforms are set up as a business, of course, and they're there to make money. So you really do need to pay to play, as what I was saying. They suppress your organic posts so that really only they say about 2% on average of your followers will actually see your organic posts unless they're frequent engagers. So never wonder why like you don't see posts anymore on Instagram from that person that you went to like school with 15 years ago. It's because you haven't engaged with them in the last 4 months on Instagram, and Instagram recognizes that you're not interested anymore. This exact same process is happening with your event audience because they're not engaging out with your event cycle. So it's running the ads to keep this audience engaged is really important. So ads that are running to your remarketing lists or to your social followers to ensure that you're pushing valuable industry content to your users without having to rely on organic because it won't reach them. And also important that keeping this audience warm throughout the year, again, tying into my previous point, will drive down your remarketing CPAs as they'll convert much quicker because you've been continuously engaging with them throughout the years. When it comes to you wanting them to take action, such as to register, they'll do it in a much quicker process, and we won't have to wait for that long scale consumer buying process that we currently fall into. And then number 4, which is a hot topic in the events industry, especially due to the volume of new events entering the markets, is really ensuring you are protecting your brand against your competitors. It's important that you protect your branded keywords because if you don't bid on them throughout the year, someone else is going to. And as well as using your competitors, if they're running events at different times of the year, they're engaging with your key audience as well. It's tapping into that audience as well, doing competitor targeting, running custom intent display campaigns to make sure that you're reaching this audience and making sure that you're at the forefront amongst your competitors' audience too, and you're not just out with, because you're out with your event cycle, not engaging with this audience too. So it's an important strategy to ensure you're pushing content out with just your follower base throughout the year, really around the world as well, within your target market. And being strong against your competitors means you'll stand out as industry players all year round. And then number 5, I would say, in my opinion, is the most important one, is ensuring you're building your data 365 days a year. So data building is so important, and so important to the fact that I made a separate slide to go into why. So going into the importance of data building, first-party data is the most valuable asset that your business can own to generate revenue and sales. It should be really your core objective out with your visitor registrations and your ticket sales, as without data going forward, especially into 2023, you will really feel the effects of it on your business. I like to continuously push out to the fact to clients that data is more valuable than oil, and for everyone that sees the price of petrol these days, that's quite a large statement to make. And one reason because it's so valuable is due to all the new regulations that are coming in place. So we've got our new privacy regulations implemented really across the world. EU, of course, still has GDPR rules. Apple released their iOS 14 privacy rules. Meta have introduced new tracking regulations, and Google will eventually be removing third-party cookies. So the tightening of these rules and the removal of tracking cookies means first-party data strategies really are vital. First-party will be the most valuable asset for targeting users online and through remarketing. And because there will be more restrictions in place with remarketing audiences, you need to have their personal data to be able to tap into it. So having a data building strategy really is an important part, and always on is the best way to do that. A lot of our clients are actually starting to have like data targets put in place alongside obviously visitor registration, XCOM targets. So event organizers are always looking for ways to different strategies to build new data, and really paid advertising 365 days a year is a very strong way to do this. So definitely one of the main reasons that you should keep your ads live throughout the year. So onto the content side, and one question I get asked a lot is, what content should I use to advertise during always on campaigns? So what's valuable to put money behind content wise and to push to a wider audience compared to just posting it organically on LinkedIn? So here's some examples. So the main thing that you want to focus on is key content pieces that engage with your audience. So this can be case studies from your event, industry reports, ebook downloads, awards that you've won, so boost your credibility out into the industry, even strong launch videos, so like having a good like launch video where you're launching the dates of your event or launching new sectors of your event can be done in a really strong launch video, which can help just like increase engagement. And then if people watch that video, we can then remarket to them when it comes to your ticket registration being open and everything like that. We can also go down the road of like newsletter signups, platform subscriptions, competitor campaigns, again, and promoting on-demand content. If you had on-demand at your event, you can then push that out afterwards. Really great win for when your event finishes is then to push out your on-demand through paid. Or if you have other webinars, it's potentially having like a 365 webinar sign-up strategy. So all of these types of content are really valuable to your audience and will keep them engaged and can be adapted and changed throughout the year. So it's good to line up your 365 campaigns normally with your marketing content calendars. So we have like a full plan of scale of where we want to add in content, change content, promote webinars, for example, throughout the year. And then I want to quickly touch upon the ad types that you should be focusing on for your always on campaigns. So across search and display, you should probably be looking into running for brand awareness, for definite programmatic to be able to push out strong brand awareness, get strong brand exposure, get your ads on managed placements so you can ensure that your ads are present on top industry websites, especially if you've got strong competitors out in the market at the time, is making sure that your ads are present there. Especially when you've got valuable content to promote is when you should be pushing quite heavy on these elements. Again, competitor campaigns, like I've mentioned, across display, running competitor 365. Some event organizers will compile full lists of their competitor shows, the dates that they're around, and have strategies when they want to increase spend, decrease spend around specific competitors. And your search industry keywords. So it's good to think about what keywords are vital for you and have high search volumes throughout the year that you want to make sure that you're always present on, again, to make sure that you're competitive within your industry online and that you're not being only present when you have an event. So think about your industry keywords that you want to use, and that should be part of your 365 campaign. And then remarketing should come in when you want to keep your current audience active. So if you've got, for example, content that you want to push to your audience that's currently active and can go to your new audience, but that's when tapping into remarketing campaigns. So people, your data lists, people that have been on your website, engaging with these audiences with content to make sure you're keeping that audience warm. And then for social platforms, so it's not too dissimilar to Google, your social campaigns should have really a variation of targeting types throughout the year, depending on what your objective is or what conversion you want to do. It could change like month on month. So it could be you set up a conversion campaign where you're wanting to get signups. So it could be like newsletter signups or platform subscriptions. So you could run those types of campaigns. Lead generation is also obviously your big one that should be running in order to gather data. So this is where you're pushing out your content, having your report downloads, pushing out valuable content that someone would be willing to hand over their email and name, job title if you want that as well, in relation to receiving the content. So it's thinking about that in terms of strategy. Making sure if you want to continuously, especially from a social point of view, is reach a new audience, because organically you're not going to be able to do that. So having audiences that are for like traffic building, targeting new audiences. So your job titles, your industry sectors, your lookalike audiences off your data list, having a campaign that's tapping into that new audience throughout the year, again, like I previously mentioned, will help to drive all this audience into your marketing funnel, which will pull down your CPAs when we get to turning into your BizProm campaigns. And then remarketing. So again, like I keep mentioning, because organic won't reach your full audience, remarketing campaigns to your followers, your currently engaged audience, pushing out the content that you want to ensure that they'll see compared to relying on organic, is important to have this element within your 365 campaigns in order to keep this audience warm. So yeah, that's kind of everything from me. So a bit of a soft overview really on the importance of always on campaigns, and I hope I've convinced you to add it into your 2023 marketing strategy today. So really, if anyone would like any support on how to plan or budget or strategize this into your PPC campaigns, I'm more than happy to help, and you can drop me an email and we can go through it. But yeah, that's everything. We'll jump on and see if we've got any questions. So yeah, first question. What amount of budget goes onto always on? So yeah, it varies in terms of, again, the scale that you want to do it in terms of, do you want a full just brand awareness? Do you want data generation? Do you want 365 lead gen? So it's thinking about what objectives do you want to hit throughout the year. Your budget can be flexible in two ways. You could have a monthly rolling budget where you put budget that you set aside for always on, and it can be rolling. So for example, it can increase some months, decrease other months depending on the content you want to push out. Or you have an overriding, if you get your budget at the start of the year, you can plan your always on budget for marketing and set like a full 12-month marketing budget, of course, including X-Prom promotion, Viz-Prom promotion within that marketing budget, and setting it. And it means sometimes having a full year budget helps us plan more accordingly compared to rolling budgets, but both are fine depending on obviously your objectives and how your budget is managed internally. So should it be paused during your visitor promotion campaigns? So you have to relate your always on campaigns that X-Prom promotion and Viz-Prom promotion is included within it. So think about that digital strategy timeline, and always on is kind of the other ends of the bracket out with that 16-week period of your visitor promotion. So because the audience that you'll be targeting will be the same, it's changing your objective. So nothing's really like paused and goes live. It's more like a flow of campaigns. So your awareness campaigns, your 365 campaigns will go on. Your exhibitor promotion campaigns will then go on. Your visitor promotion campaigns will then go on, and then 365 then goes on. So it's like a natural flow. So technically, from a campaign point of view, yes, they will be paused, but visitor promotion is part of your 365. So it's infiltrating your budget in with that and your strategy with that in terms of content that you want to push out, that it's planned across all of your objectives. How long should you run pieces of content for? So again, it depends what the content is. Normally we can refresh like on a monthly basis. You don't want to refresh too frequently because you want to, one, make sure the audience has seen it, is engaged with it. It's also keeping an eye on engagement levels. So if you've got a piece of content that's got really high engagement, is getting really strong data gathering from it, you want to keep that live longer until you start to see the performance slow down. But it's refreshing, maybe thinking about what content you're going to push out on a monthly or every 2 months basis and plan your content that way. Don't do it too short. Like, don't run a piece of content for like a week or 2 weeks, as you won't get the full effect of how it performs from a paid perspective. So it's having a full content plan in place is normally the best strategy. Cool. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Like I said, if anyone wants any support on how to run these types of campaigns, please feel free to drop me an email. And yeah, thank you. I'll see you at the next webinar.